And good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Pacific Coast Open Mixed Pairs here at the Pacific Indoor Bowling Club here in Vancouver, British Columbia. We have semi-final action for you this afternoon from day three of this great tournament so far. And our semi-finalists in this feature match will feature Scott Packer and Vivian Chan against James Chen and Anita Lee. Hi, everyone. I'm Bill Curry, along with Shane O'Flaherty, rejoining us back in the booth after a great stint with us last year. Shane, welcome.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the action here. I think we've got a couple of really great semi-finals ahead of us. We've got four teams that, I just think they're going to be really, really close. All of these, both of these matches. So
Yeah. Uh, the Scott Packer, Vivian Chan, James Chen, Anita Lee match will be our feature match today. We will be providing you with updates, however, throughout the broadcast for the second semifinal, which features the rink of Andre Dufour and Zoe Chan, along with up against Pat Bird and Serena Matthews, and that's taking place on rink 6 as we speak. Uh, both rinks right now are in trial bowls at the moment, so we are on the verge of starting this semifinal. $13,600 is the total prize pool for this tournament. The mixed pairs champions will walk home with $3,000, and even our quarterfinalists today walked away with $400 as a nice consolation prize in a very, very fine morning of quarterfinal bowls.
yeah, I think the $400 is probably my total that I've won in my 10 years of lawn bowling. I keep on telling my wife that I'm a professional sports person because I've won money. It doesn't matter how much money, it's money.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And for these bowlers, it goes a long way to as well for especially the out of town bowlers to defray their expenses. Speaking of out of town bowlers, one of our semifinalists, Scott Packer, comes to us from Calgary Lawn Bowling Club, and Scott was participant in the first Pacific Coast Open last year and played very well, but has certainly made some noise in this tournament.
Yeah, well, I remember he was paired up with Alex Van Bos last year, and she's a fantastic player, and he's got an equally fantastic player this time round. So it's always good to have, someone really reliable that you're playing with, and so he's been blessed with that both years now, and he's done really well to get to the semi-final. So good luck to him.
Yeah, Scott Packer today paired up with Vivian Chan from Richmond Lawn Bowling Club. Meanwhile, the other side, James Chen and Anita Lee, who we featured on day one of this tournament, both fantastic bowlers as well, both from the Richmond Lawn Bowling Club here in British Columbia. Once again, Richmond, such a strong bowling club that develops young players and also has quite a few elite and competitive champions on the local circuit.
Yeah, and the thing they do really well at Richmond is that they do bring up the new players, that they give them opportunities, and they let them sort of start out playing lead and then quickly transition to the other roles. And that's why they have so many good players because, they get the support from the senior players. So, yeah, it's a great club.
So the leads right now are finishing up the far end for their trial bowls here. It's been a busy week so far. You know, you're throwing 14 ends of bowls throughout in order to try and advance to this stage. So you're already four matches in this week, and it's one of those times where you really have to sort of build on that momentum that got you here and try to bear down and for the pressure shots.
Yeah, and I think the thing I've noticed in the matches that I've been, watching on the streaming earlier this week is that, um, you know, you can get out to a slow start and then bring yourself back into the match. And I think the thing here is just to make sure that, you stay in contact, even if you're not quite there yet. And, it's with 14 ends, it's an up and down kind of a game. There's always going to be good ends, always going to be bad ends. So There's plenty of opportunity there. 14 ends gives you plenty of chance to, for the best team to come through.
And the skips now just finishing up as you see James Chen on your screen right now. James Chen will be bowling the Hanselite Dreamline XGs in this match, and we're actually lucky there's not going to be any color clash between bowls in this match, which is always helpful. But James Chen will be rolling the orange bowls. His partner Anita Lee will have the white Hanselite TX1s. Meanwhile, Scott Packer will be bowling the Aero Defiance Blues, and his partner Vivian Chan will be bowling the Taylor Vector VS Pinks. So be a colorful group, and just to sort of clear things up, the colors you see on the scorebug for the teams are the colors of the bowl that the skips are throwing. So just to help you keep track.
Yeah, I think it's one of the great things with modern lawn bowls is, I grew up watching lawn bowls back in the only black bowls sort of era, and often you just had no idea who was holding shot. So yeah, this is good, nice, clear, distinct colours.
Yes, the game has indeed come a long way over the years. So we're really looking forward to this one, especially we've seen some excellent draw bowling over the first two matches from these bowlers. So it's and Scott Packer had a very difficult quarterfinal to get through in order to get to this semifinal match, defeating Rink with Carrie Nance and extra end.
Yeah, I sort of came in expecting to see that Kerry and Rainbow would be in one of the semi-finals, and obviously they must have done a great job to beat those guys because both Kerry and Rainbow are lethal. So yeah, you've got to be bowling well to beat them.
Well, when I walked into the club at about noon hour today, the whole place was just mesmerized on the rink they were on, as the match was just so close, and you could have heard a pin drop in this entire place.
Excellent.
And we are underway now as our first bowls are thrown here. Vivian Chan starting the proceedings here in the Pacific Coast Open semifinal.
I think the battle between Vivian and Anita is going to be really interesting because both of them are just, if you were picking a teammate for a tournament like this, these two would be right at the top of your list. Both of them are so accurate, so consistent.
And if you've been tuning into our matches, you know just how important the lead bowls have been in as the deciding factor in some of these matches.
And you'll also know that as soon as you compliment someone, they send their first bowl into the ditch. It's just one of those rules, isn't it?
Well, the good news is it can only get better from there.
You'd hope.
And this is a great lead bowl from Vivian Chan.
It's good to get that one right on the jack early on. Put the pressure on.
And this is more like we're used to from Anita Lee.
Yep. Huge sigh of relief there. It's always good to get a bowl in the head and then you can play with a bit more freedom.
And a back bowl there.
Yeah, Vivian's not going to be disappointed with that. That's a great position.
And here is the final lead bowl, first end from Anita Lee. And it's a nice one.
That's a beauty. Wonderful.
So precise, just settles right in between Vivian's bowl and the jack, and no toucher, so there's still space between it. But that is a bright start to this match.
Yeah, it's set that head up nicely, and now there's plenty of thoughts going through both skips' heads in terms of what to do.
Scott Packer lining up to take the first skip shot of this end. Just getting started here. It's end number 1 of 14. Yeah. Heavy, but will hang on just at the edge of the ditch.
Yeah, it's got the back covered, and if they want to, play an aggressive bowl, it's that option's there.
James Chen wasting no time. So Anita Lee's bowl remains the one holding. Backhand bowl, I think Scott was looking for something a bit more green on that.
Yeah, a little bit more green. I think his idea was just to come in and just sit and stay, and just didn't quite get it right there.
Once again, a fine bowl there from James Chen. Not much of a difference in terms of point total, but at the moment, that is a pretty good cluster they're trying to build.
Yeah, it never hurts to have more bowls in the head, but he may want to. He may have wanted to get something in the back, but let's see what happens.
Coming in with a little bit more weight on this one.
He's trying hard with this.
That's why you have a shot. Oh, unfortunately, you knew what he was trying to do there, but really needed that direct hit.
Yeah, I think that's a good shot, bad result kind of a situation. Like he's gone from probably being one down to it looks like it may be three.
Yeah, could very well be 3. And also an opportunity here for James Chen with his last ball.
Let's see how brave he gets.
Early in the match, so you may want to take the risk here. Lots of time to recover.
Yeah, and James is such a professional that he won't be worried about this. He's played the same as he has.
And it's going to pull up short. You don't think he was looking to do too much there. But in the end, that'll be a good start for his rink as they appear to. Looks like they will pick up 3 here in this first end. Well, we'll wait and see. Yep, 3 it is. So, very good start for their rink here with 3 right off the top.
I think anytime you can pick up the 3 early on, that's just such a nice way to start. Give yourself a little buffer to start with.
but we have a long way to go yet. And as we've seen in this tournament, you know, we've seen that even big leads are not safe. And then we've seen and Vivian Chan once again with a nice first bowl here to start the second end.
And that's why we've seen her go to nationals so many times, is that she just keeps on bowling like that.
Something to look for here at PIBC this October as Canadian National Championships come to Vancouver once again. And Anita Lee just carries the jack, nudges it.
Same as last end, she had an okay first bowl there, and then she came up with a great one in the second. So well done.
You talk about the importance of adjustments in this game. That is a radical adjustment.
And the greens here can be unforgiving. So, you know, it takes a lot of work to make those adjustments.
Anita Lee with her third bull here in the second end. Carries two in the back. Luckily does not take the jack with it.
I think she was probably relieved that she didn't, because there's every chance it was going to kick that off across to Zoe's bowl, so across to Vivian's bowl.
And that'll conclude the lead bowls with Anita Lee holding here as the skips go into action.
So James will want to get something in the head, but not something that's going to widen the target. So close, but not too close.
You know, many people, talk about the virtues of having a very close, tight head, but when you have a very loose head, any little movement can completely change the complexion. Scott Packer from Calgary with his first bowl at the second end. And it'll just hang on at the edge. I don't think it could go any further.
I think that's a tactical bowl there. Like he's prepping up for his next shot, and it's given the benefit of the doubt there.
Shenton's going to wick right in there, and that is a nice wick for second shot.
There's a wry smile on Anita's face at the moment. She's heaving a sigh of relief there.
Scott Packer's second shot. This one is too heavy and goes the distance. Oh, and that one will join the back, and that is nice tactical bowling.
It's a good positional bowl there. Yeah, I mean Scott's obviously going to have another go at it, and fair enough. It's there to be taken.
So they're indicating that the Packer rink is down 2 and a measure at the moment.
I'm not sure where the measure is. I think it's just two. It's looking like that Vivian Soundly got third there.
This is breaking in much better for Packer. Oh, just missed.
Yeah, that probably deserved a better result than what it got. It was a very nice adjustment from them.
So they agree on 2 to begin with for the Chen Li rink. And they're walking it off. Yep, they will agree on 2. So the rink of James Chen and Anita Lee jump out to a 5-0 lead here after 2 ends at the Pacific Coast Open semifinal.
Yeah, it's a good lead, but like you said, games can change very quickly. So, you just need to win an end and get back into it for Scott and Vivian.
So far, both rinks playing fairly long jacks to start the match. Not much movement with the mat.
We'll see whether if they win this end, whether they choose to adjust that at all.
And both opening bowls for the third end behind the jack.
It's a reasonable start for both. There's nothing wrong with those two bowls, and it's still a very open head.
Settle in front of the jack, just under a meter.
Yeah, the way these heads have been going, you expect it's going to need to be a bit closer than that to get shot.
And just to give you a quick update on what's happening in the other semifinal, the rank of Pat Bird and Serena Matthews has a 2-1 lead over Andre Dufour and Zoe Chan. They are in the third end.
Yeah, I'm struggling with that match because I don't know whether to support the team that has my New West club mate in it or a team that has my fellow New Zealander in it. So,
And a couple of really useful bowls there from Anita Lee.
yeah, that's in a good spot, that last one. So it's probably holding shot.
This one a bit narrow, but lots of ways for the skips to get into that head. Lots of openings, not too much traffic in front.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of options for both skips. So, yeah, Scott's got the option of either drawing or trying to push Vivian's front bowl in. And James has got the option of coming down the side there that Anita's just showing him.
James Chen's first skip bowl of the third end. And it's kind of interesting, Shane, because we were looking at matches in this rink yesterday where we had elite bowlers who did so well in the first couple of games in the group stage of this tournament. But when they got onto this rink, started to struggle with the weight, and especially in the early ends.
Yeah, I mean, there's every rink here is different, and every it can change hour by hour with the difference of weather conditions. So it can change up a lot. But generally, I tend to find this rink reasonably consistent whenever I've played on it. So
And Scott Packer is going to get the benefit, it looks, from a really good wick there. And can't really differentiate. And it appears that Anita Lee has raised a finger. I'm not sure. But either way, Scott's going to come down and have a look at this.
yeah, visually from here, it's looking like there's a little bit of a gap between the blue bowl and the jack. So I think it might be Anita's one at the back there that's holding short, but it's very close.
Yeah, we're going to try and zoom in a little bit closer on this just to see if we can differentiate anything. Now, this is an ugly shot, I will warn you in advance, but it does give you an idea of just how tight this is right now. And so right up here, you do see that eh, you can't really tell from this what the gap is like there. So,
Yeah, I tell you, I could have used that camera angle a few times when I was playing last night. By 10 o'clock at night, every bowl that I was playing was lost halfway down.
James Chen's final bowl does not bend for him.
Yeah, it's the right idea, though. He would have sent that one of the Anitas through and then possibly made it into a two.
And final bowl of this third end. And this is a good one. Oh, it should have been a good one.
Wow.
Wow, that's a
Okay.
rough one.
I challenge him to try and do that again, to go through without touching anything.
And in the end, it's Anita Lee's bowl that holds for a single point. And, that was, you know, that was a bit heartbreaking for the Packer rink.
Yeah, it's the old bowls adage that bowls were made for holes, and he managed to find every inch where there wasn't a bowl.
Hmm. That is a tough break. But as we said, we move on to fourth end, and still lots of bowls to be played. We're scheduled for 14.
Yeah, you've got to take the positive out of it. It was a good bowl. You know, he was just slightly out, and so you've got to say to yourself, I'm pretty close to being right there. So you just keep on working at it, and you get yourself back in the game. There's nothing to be too worried about there.
Mhm.
It's a nice solid start there from Anita, just about 2.5 feet short of the jack.
And well,
It never hurts to have one in the back, especially with two skips who have the ability to move the jack.
and that is a fine bowl from Vivian Channy.
Yeah, beautiful adjustment and huge sigh of relief for her skip there. Vivian will be maybe hoping to just get onto this again, maybe even give it a little tap.
And Vivian Chen with her, I would say maybe her best lead end so far.
Yeah, very solid end, and she's got shot probably a measure for the second shot, and that's just a great position that back hole. So
But that being said, Anita Lee does have the two at the back by the tee, so that's a little strategic advantage. But surrounding the jack the way that Vivian Chen has is certainly a good spot for Scott Packer to be working with.
yeah, James will just be looking at just coming in and getting one in close to start with.
And that's exactly what James Chen does. That is perfect. Sure, perfect with the toucher.
And that's exactly what James Chen does week in, week out. He's a really solid, consistent, sort of underrated bowler, James.
And Scott Packer maybe taking a little bit longer to figure out the weight of this rink.
Yeah, I think he got caught in between there. He wasn't sure if he was draw bowling or playing with to take the shot bowl out.
Then James Chen joins him.
Yeah, I think that takes away the more aggressive shot from Scott. I think he's just going to have to just play a good solid draw here.
This is coming in a bit hot here on Scott Packer, and once again just misses that shot pull.
Yep, close but no cigar.
James Chen's final hole of this fourth end. That shot. Oh. Just brushes up against Vivian Chan's pink ball just to give a little bit of insurance there.
And they're sitting in a nice spot there.
If Scott Packer can do something with this final ball. And coming in with good weight, and this one's bang on. It's going to connect, and it looks like he's going to get the advantage there, and the Scott Packer rink is on the board. And it's a question of whether it's a single or if it's going to be two. They will, looks like they'll pull out the measuring tape for this.
Yeah, from this angle, I'm not sure at all. It's very close.
Of course, our cameras are at a different angle. I mean, our players in general are good at sorting these things out on their own. We do have the convener who can come in and play umpire if need be.
Yeah, I think in general, like uh, unless they're really, really close and there's sort of some bowls leaning on bowls, just do it yourselves. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They obviously feel the need to measure three of them here, so. And they will call it two for the Scott Packer rink. So Scott Packer and Vivian Chan are now on the board here as they narrow the gap to 6-2 as after a really, really good fourth end.
And I think, for Scott, that'll fill him with confidence now, sort of knowing that he's sort of created that too.
So as we get started here in end number 5, I'm just going to have a quick glance over at the other semifinal. The rink of Pat Bird and Serena Matthews are up 3-2 on the rink of Andre Dufour and Zoe Chan. And they seem to be in the fifth end.
Yeah, that's looking like a real arm wrestle. That one, every time I look across that match, the leads are just sort of nailing it, sort of right in the head there, and then the skips are disturbing the head when they need to. So it's another good game going on.
And it's unfortunate we can only show one match at a time, but we do our best.
Well, it gives the other semi-finalists the desire to make it to the final, so they can get on the big screen.
Oh, exactly. Nothing's nothing's better than being on the championship rink here at PIBC on live streaming day. Recorded on YouTube for all posterity.
You can go back and just fast forward through the bad bowls and just concentrate on the good bowls. That's sort of what my bowls brain does anyway. Is like after a match, I just remember the good bowls.
I was about to say, and it's like the bowls that I roll tend to be just I just remember the highlight reel. May lose 20-4, but
You've got to accentuate the positive, right? I think, yeah, if it is true though, if you drift too long on the bad bowls, it can really get to you. You just have to acknowledge that we all bowl a bad bowl from time to time.
Exactly, and this is not a bad bowl right now from Anita Lee.
She's just doing what she's been doing every end. She's just been very, very consistent.
Yeah. Leads that just put the pressure on the opposing skips. Yeah, those are the ones that can help win you a lot of matches.
Yeah, it takes you out of your natural game. Like as a skip, you like to be able to just play some draw bowls and sort of find the gaps and get your shots in there, add to a lead. And if you're chasing all the time, it can get you out of your natural game.
Vivian Chan's response here was pretty solid as well.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure which one's shot. I think I may be tending towards her shot to the side there as holding shot, possibly. It's very consistent head there from Anita. She's been more or less the same width every time.
Yeah, you can look at that straight line and you know she has it.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be a good lead bowler, just watch what she's doing now and try and emulate it. Scott has a very nice action there. There's not much waste in there. He's just doing what you need to do.
This is nice, and he's just noting that Scott is his approach to the mat is consistent. That's very deliberate each time.
Very methodical. Yeah. 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 And one of the things, if you're a regular here at PIBC, is that you do have to work on that of being, having something that's very repeatable and very methodical.
James Chen coming in here, and well, it just brushes behind Vivian Chan's bowl off to the right hand side. Scott Thacker freezing up against Anita Lee's lead bowl up top. Still looks to be holding shot there on the with that dark bowl on the left hand side.
I think so. Yeah. I think James just needs a slight adjustment to that.
And Chen's second bowl. Hmm. This one's also going to come up short, but also creates a bit of a log jam there on that forehand side.
Yeah, I'm not sure if James will probably still keep that way, but does have the other sides a lot more open, but nobody's really gone to that side.
And I should say the backhand side, I've got it reversed here on my screen. Now, deal with the inversion. Okay, so that'll wrap up the fifth end as they have a look around. So it's really between the Scott Thacker Bowl on the left-hand side and Anita Lee's white bowl up top, I would think. And maybe that Anita Lee bowl in the back has something to do with it here too. So we're actually going to start with Vivian Chan's pink bowl off to the
Yeah.
side. Interesting. So clearly nothing obvious at the moment. And we've got a signal there that there's a single point. And I'm sorry, I didn't see who did that.
Yeah, so I think it's one shot for Vivian and Scott. I think they were just measuring for second there. They just hadn't taken the shot out of the head.
And they pull one back here after the fifth end.
It's also 5 ends down on in the other semi-final, and it is 3-all. I think Andre pulled out a brilliant shot, his last shot, just to uh, get the shot for his team.
Well, all these four rinks looking for a berth in our championship final, which we will have live for you on YouTube. We talked about maybe 3:30 p.m. Pacific time. I think that might be a bit optimistic with the pace of these matches so far.
Yeah, it's times like this, you're playing a big semi-final, you tend to not worry too much about how fast you're going. You just want to get it right. Still plenty of space to draw now for Anita.
And immediately taking the back of the green.
The other semi-final, it's exactly the same colour bowls for Leeds, and it's exactly the same. They're having a real battle there, Zoe against Serena. And Serena, of course, is a former New Zealand representative. She's been to the Commonwealth Games. She was a Asia Pacific indoor singles champion at one stage. So she's got a great resume.
And it speaks volumes for the quality of bowlers that this tournament has been able to attract in its very short time. Only the second year.
It's fantastic to have this and to have the Canadian Bowler Open in Calgary before this. So Serena came out for both. And what a great thing for bowlers to be able to play in two great tournaments like these.
As the lead bowls finish up here in end number 6, looks to be Vivian Chan with perhaps the advantage on that right-hand side with that big ball.
I think the leads have sort of said to the skips, though, boys, it's time for you guys to just show us what you've got. Got a nice open head here. Let's see you draw some shots.
But getting back to your point earlier, Shane, about there being a Calgary Open and a Canadian Open in Calgary, and then the Pacific Coast Open here, it really is one of the missing pieces of the Canadian long ball scene is having a circuit like that.
Yeah, I think there's the nationals are one thing, and everyone always wants to get to nationals, but it's great to have other stuff to aim at as well. It's really hard to get to nationals, and having open tournaments where you can enter and get in, that's a big deal for a lot of people.
Scott Packer with his best draw so far in the match as James Chen pulls up behind with his leads bowls.
Yeah, and I think that little bit of confidence we were talking about there with Scott, he now he's now feeling it. So let's see what he can do in this one. Don't put it in the ditch, Scott. I'm going to take 100% responsibility for that role. I'm sorry, Scott.
Yes, it is the Commentator's curse. It strikes again. Luckily, it doesn't strike as often as the ditch on the side of the screen.
Yeah, I think we've all got to know that ditch pretty well.
Yeah. Could be two right now for the Packer rink.
I think so, yeah.
That's a good bowl, a good position for that.
That's exactly I think where he wanted to put that. It's you know, it's right in there. It puts takes away an easy option for James. James is one of those guys who, like, you'll see him playing in any position on a team. He's sort of, isn't doesn't have much ego sort of about him. He'll happily slot in wherever he needs to go. He just does the job very well, whatever position he plays.
Having a look at this head here, Shane. With Thacker right on the jack there, you are right. It makes this a very difficult situation for James Chen, especially with that back fold, with that single back fold there. But you've got to be eyeing up those four of his bowls in the back as well.
Yeah, there's just not much of a target there with Scott Spalding, on the back of the jack. But James is going for it.
He's going with weight here. He's got the running shot on the go, and no, oops, got Packers full, but not in an advantageous position, I would think. Doesn't quite bend for him.
That's another
That
two.
would be it. That is two. And so, despite jumping out to an early lead, it is now a 1 point lead here at the Pacific Coast Open. And we will be right back after a word from our sponsor.
The Pacific Coast Open is brought to you in part by the Matheson Family Foundation, a registered charity organization. Having donated more than $1 million to more than 250 charities and organizations, it's all about giving back to the community.
And welcome back here as we start up the seventh end of 14 scheduled here at the Pacific Coast Open here at the Pacific Indoor Bowling Club in Vancouver, BC. I'm Bill Curry along with Shane O'Flaherty, bringing you all of the action here in this exciting semifinal.
It's one of those ones where, you know, I have no feeling for which team is going to gain dominance here. I think both teams are playing very well.
And just going to take a quick look at the semifinal happening on rink 6. The other one, Pat Bird and Serena Matthews have jumped out to a 6-3 lead over the rink of Andre Dufour and Zoe Chan in the seventh end.
Yeah, that match is equally an arm wrestle like this match. I think there have been some very tight ends in there, and both teams playing really well.
And the way that these two semifinals have gone so far, I mean, picking up a 3 in an end is a big end right now, where the teams have just been trading points.
Yeah, it's you've got to try and take advantage of that too. You know, when you can pick up a 3, if you can push on and win the next end and just put even more pressure on.
at back hole to join Anita Lee's two white poles at the back.
I think Vivian was determined to make sure that Anita didn't have the tee there.
And does that set up Anita Lee with her final bowl here? Going right for the jack, and it is perfect.
Yeah, James started clapping from about 10 meters out, so it was, I knew it was going to be good.
Yeah. That said, I mean, Anita Lee has bowled very well, but there hasn't been much difference really in the big scheme of things between the leads.
No, I think she probably had the dominance the first couple of ends, and then Vivian started to sort of find her length and her line, and that's pretty much what we would have expected because just past history with both of these players. They're both very, very good players.
Packer, well, he nudges the jack, but doesn't move it much.
Yep, it's unfortunate because it's put it a little further out of reach now, but it was a good effort.
And James Chen with a nice bowl settling right behind the jack, and some question who's holding at the moment.
Yeah, that's a beauty. Like that's exactly where you want to put it in case Scott wants to sort of play into the head.
So Vivian Chan kind of indicated there that they may be down one. I'm not 100% sure.
Well, I think it'd have to be two. Yeah. So those are Anita and James's bowls. The two in there, aren't they? So I think Scott just wants, it's a reasonable sort of draw sort of zone there.
This has a good line.
He's trying.
This has a
He's got
great
it.
line, and he carries it with him. Can you carry it too far, maybe?
Possibly, yeah. Yeah, I think Vivian's just indicated down.
No, and once again, that's the value of those back poles. Not always apparently useful at the middle of the end, but they can make a difference.
Yeah, I try and get short bowls in case the jack comes forward. And that one case in 100 where it happens, that's my tactical sort of play. But I guess, this is more conservative. Yeah. This line's good.
Chen just,
That's a beauty.
James Chen just delivering right up against his eighth hole, and it's two.
And I know how that feels. James has done that to me on many occasions.
And Scott Packer is definitely coming down for a look at this before his final shot.
Yeah, I think Scott might be tempted to try and sort of come through that same space with just a touch more weight and just try and knock the orange bowl onto the white bowl.
I mean, if you look at our mouse cursor, though, there is still this opening here, but it is a difficult shot with everything, with that crowd in front of the jack. But it's not completely closed off.
No, but I mean, essentially he played that shot sort of on the previous one when he moved move for jack. So you've got to sort of say to yourself, yeah, I could actually do that again. There's nothing stopping me. But I don't know, psychologically, sometimes you just think the weighted shot is just feels easier. It's not.
Mm. Scott Packer's final shot of the 7th. It's going to try and come that route, and it's looking really good. And that's great stuff from Scott Packer. That is magic.
Yeah, after a bowl like that, I think has deserved a strut, and he should be able to strut down the green after that. Well done.
James Chen still has his final bowl of this 7th in, but that's going to be very, very tough to match.
Yeah, it's hard to come sort of down the open side because it's hard to get it to come back to there.
He's coming with a fair amount of weight here.
I think he's going to try and take out the shot.
And it's that could have ended very badly for the Chen ring, but looks like they survived this one. Well, actually, no. Well, and yes, it's just the single point, and we are tied. And that's tied because of that's it's some great fireworks there from Scott Packer to tie up the match shot with that single shot.
Yeah, well, he played three good bowls in that end. I think, Scott's showing what we see from a lot of visiting bowlers. Like at Nationals, the second time people come to PIBC, they're a lot more familiar. They know what's happening, and he's playing significantly better this year than he did last year. He wasn't bad last year. I thought he played really well at times last year. So
And it's interesting, this is one of the shorter distances that we've seen in this match so far. So the gamesmanship's starting to show up in this.
meanwhile, across in the other semi-final, after 7 ends, it is 6-4. Pat and Serena leading Zoe and Andre. It's a lovely start from Vivian. Anita did everything but take the jack there. She just missed it 9 millimeters.
Yeah. Vivian Chan with solid lead balls to start this off.
Yeah, the second one probably wasn't what she was planning on, but it's ended up in a really good spot, matching that one of Anita's.
This is going to be good here from Anita Lee. And another toucher, and Scott Packer very clear with his instruction on that one.
It's always a good thing for a skip to just sort of like, state exactly what they want. I did love the optimism there of James spraying the white bowl with the white spray chalk. It's,
And you hope no one forgets which one is the toucher. But one thing's for sure, the person who bowls it always remembers it's the toucher.
oh, I remember touches from 5 years ago.
Oh, this is
That's
nice.
another lovely goal. Wow.
Once again, strong lead bowls from Anita Lee in what is one of the most tightly fought matches we've seen on our live stream so far. We've had some really good matches all the way through, but they're trading blow for blow right now.
And the thing to remember here is that they've drastically changed for length on this end. And both lead bowlers have come up with, there's maybe 1 meter is the furthest bowl.
And coming in with weight, moves the jack and moves the bull aside, but that's a better situation right now for Scott Packer as they kind of indicate that they're indicating right now, I believe that Vivian Chan's pink bull may be holding here, but it's awful close.
Yeah, visually from my spot here, I definitely favour Vivian's bowl. Sort of on the screen, it looks as though it's Anita's, but it's a measure for sure.
Nice stuff. And also, excuse the fact that we are trying to, as the head moves, we do have to move the cameras. So you did catch us with our camera control on screen at that point.
Well, I think that may well have been the bowl of the game so far there from James, because he converted one down to 3 up with maybe a measure for 4.
Yep, absolutely fantastic position for the Chen rink.
Scott's been on fire, so let's see what he can do here.
Oh, so close from Scott Packer.
He's got to say to himself, I've opened it up now, so James is going to try and probably close it back down.
There's still plenty of opportunity here. James Chen with 2 bowls remaining here in the 8th. I think it's nudges Scott's bowl towards the jack. And I see if it changes anything here. But right now, James Chen is looking at least two, one would think, and maybe a third, but that's difficult to see from our angle.
Yeah, I think sort of visually it's looking like it's a couple to Anita still, but it creates a more sort of hospitable head there for Scott to come into.
Yeah, I should note though that James Chen's James Chen has an orange bowl at the very back, but there's also the pink bowl that Vivian Chan has back there as well. So if you do tend to move stuff, you can only move it so far.
There's a committee meeting going on here. Various parties are putting their proposals in. Decisions being made.
And one would think that we're probably seeing a little bit of weight here.
Yeah, you want to play the weight, but you want to be careful not to take your own bowl out at the same time. So,
Yes. And of course, anytime you're relying on hitting bowls, you lose a lot of control over the situation.
if it's a hit and a prayer.
And unlucky for Scott there.
Yeah, it was always going to be too wide there. I could tell because James started walking back towards the head as soon as it came out of Scott's hand. So it was like, he's not looking worried. So,
No. And this is a huge opportunity here for the Chen ring. Holding two, possibly a third, but an opportunity maybe to pick up a fourth if they can move that Packer goal
Yeah,
just off
move
to the
that.
left.
Yep.
And doesn't appear to have made it. But now we'll see how many were scored.
I think it was one of those situations where you just thought, throw it out a little wider. If it comes in, it comes in. If it doesn't, then so be it. You didn't want to risk too much there.
So they'll bring out the measuring tape for the third as 2 points are confirmed.
Across in the other semi-final, after 8 ends, it is now 8-4 for Pat and Serena.
And they have signaled, and it is 2 points to James Chen and Anita Lee after 8. And we will be right back after a word from the city of Vancouver. The Pacific Coast Open is funded in part by a Vancouver Community Sports hosting grant from the City of Vancouver and the Vancouver Board of Parks and Recreation. Welcome back as we start the ninth end of this semifinal of the Pacific Coast Open here at Pacific Indoor Bowling Club in Vancouver. A rare misstep there as Anita Lee sends the jack all the way to the ditch.
Well, it's always good to know that that she is at times like us mere mortals. That she can make mistakes. So
even in this tournament yesterday, during the group stage, a very noted, I will not name names, but a very noted national level bowler threw a wrong bias. So it even happens to the very best of the best.
that's we all make mistakes. The big thing is trying to make up for them.
Exactly.
That's the same line that I use on my son as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And As we all know as bowlers, turning over a jack is hardly the worst thing that can happen.
No, it's when you're holding three and you convert it into fourth of the opposition, it's that hurts.
And another toucher there from Anita Lee to open up this end. Winner of this match will advance to our championship final coming up later this afternoon. Scheduled for 3:30 p.m. Pacific, but probably a little bit later at this point. And we will have that for you live on YouTube. This is nice here from Vivian Chan. Just brushes past the jack, but great spot.
Yeah, she'll be very happy with that.
And that'll wrap up the lead bowls here. Anita Lee looking still symmetrical this time, more on a diagonal.
Yeah, she's playing 3D sort of chess here, I think. It's all tactical.
Yeah. And of course, Vivian Chan with her final bowl of this ninth end. And that's a nice finish. And straight lines for Vivian Chan. And I think there's a lot for both skips to be happy about here.
Yep, and it's still a very open head. There's still sort of shots to be made for the skips. Across in the other semi-final, one shot on the last end for Andre and Zoe. So they are behind by 8-5 to Pat and Serena at the moment after 9 ends.
Andre Dufour and Zoe Chen, such skilled bowlers on the local and national scene in Zoe's case.
Yeah, Zoe's just been very.
And look at that from Jamie Chen.
Superb.
That is a national level bowl.
Yeah. Yeah, Zoe's been very, very good for, well, as long as I've been playing bowl, she's been one of the top bowlers.
Yeah.
And Andre's one of those guys who just came in, started bowling, and looked good straight away.
Yeah, just very familiar with Andre Dufour from his feats at the Stanley Park Lawn Bowling Club, and is now becoming a fixture on the Vancouver district scene. Meanwhile, they were up against very formidable competition, of course, today. Pat Bird from Calgary and Serena Matthews from New Zealand.
And as a Kiwi Canadian, that's my perfect sort of team there with national team members from both countries. I was coming up a little short for James there, but after that previous bowl, it's hard to get much better than that.
This is bending in for Scott. And Scott Packer will, looked like he was going to connect. And you can see exactly what the result of that would have been with this cluster of bowls of his on the right-hand side, and that is unlucky.
If he had had another, another coat of colour on that bowl, it probably would have taken the jack. So.
So maybe looking to place one. Yeah, you can see they're looking at a couple of options here, maybe placing one where Packer's blue bowl in the back went. And they also played around with the idea on that left side where you see Anita Hill's white bowl of maybe closing that gap a little bit. We'll see which one they choose. This one's bending in a little bit, a little dangerous here. Oh, playing with fire there, and I think they survive here.
I think they did, yes. So it still leaves that shot sort of available for Scott. He can either sit and stay, or he can try and take the jack.
And with that hit, I mean, the jack is a little bit more exposed than what it was before. So, you know, good, better opportunity here, I think, for Scott. And a very difficult shot he attempted the first time. And looks to be one to the James Chen rink after that final shot.
I could feel the sigh of relief from James there. And Scott's bowl ended up too wide.
That'll open up a 9-6 lead for the Chen rink here after 9 ends. We're scheduled for 14 here.
Plenty of games still to be played here.
And even though they did manage to win the point, you can certainly see that Scott Packer as the skip is starting to really be able to read this ring quite a bit.
Yeah,
and much better. And it's really just a matter of inches at times.
Yeah, that second shot of his could have made a big difference. He was just unlucky.
Jack is directly on the tee.
Cross on the other green, Pat Bird is just played a weighted shot to take out the shot bowl for his opposition, and I think they might have picked up a count here, 3 or 4.
And they are putting up the score there. It's 12-5 after 10 ends. Catbird has built up the lead.
Catbird is very familiar with these greens. He's played lots of nationals here. And he's done very well in the past.
And we'll correct that. It's actually 11-5 for Pat Bird and Serena Matthews over Andre Dufour and Zoe Chen. But it is the end of the 10th end over there. So they're just entering the 11th.
Still everything to play for in both of these games.
We're in the 10th end here in our feature match. James Chen and Anita Lee with a 9-6 lead over Scott Packer and Vivian Chan. Winners of this match will advance to the championship final this afternoon. Winner of the final walking home with $3,000 for their team. 3 back holes for Anita Lee there. All clustered. And Vivian Chan just kisses the jack on its way past.
So just about the perfect result. She gets the touch, doesn't move it too far since Anita's got the 3 bowls waiting at the back there.
And about 1.5 meters short.
Still a very open head here.
Pulls up 1 meter short as well, just under 1 meter.
James just wants to get something there in the head. Try and cut this down.
And he's going to take the jack, but it goes over toward Vivian Chan's bowl. But let's result cutting them down. Where they were once holding 2, they're now holding 1.
And I think it leaves it open to a final sort of bowl where he can maybe have a go at that big bowl.
Packer can bend one in here. Well, it does hang on at the back, but
Yeah, Vivian was leaning forward, trying to will it not to go into that ditch. Yep, you never know. That could be a useful bowl depending on what happens here from James. I think James is more likely to play a sort of sit and stay kind of a weight rather than a full-on sort of weight. It's a little bit sheltered there from a full-on drive, I think.
he does have the advantage that 4 of the 6 holes at the back are theirs. So really, if you're talking about taking a risk here, the worst that can happen is that you may end up losing 2 here instead of the 1. It's going to try and come around the back there, but no, no contact and too far.
Yep, so I think Scotty has just got the opportunity of just trying to draw another shot in. He's got maybe a foot and a half to sort of draw space.
It's an opportunity for at least 2 here for Packer if he could even rest up against James Chen's bowl there, the orange bowl here at the back. We'll see how this works. And connects with the bowls at the top of the head. So looks to be a single point as the Packer rink pulls one back here. It's 9-7 and still lots to play for here after 10 ends.
Yep, it's just no side's sort of really got that dominant apart from that sort of fast beginning from Anita and James. But since then, those first 3 ends, it's just been back and forth, back and forth.
Scott looking for about 3/4 length here on this jack, and that's pretty much where his partner Vivian Chan delivers.
And as with every skip I've ever played with, like they never applaud you for a beautifully thrown jack. There's no reward for that. They just place it and walk away. Vivian and Anita, I think they've both had their one bad bowl for sort of happens once every 5 ends. So now they can get back to normal business and start peppering the jack again.
Luckily, we do have wide angle cameras here, so Well, unfortunately, we haven't needed to go this wide too far in this tournament so far.
Yeah, well, I wasn't playing, so you didn't have to worry.
And Vivian Chan with the best bowl of the end so far.
Excellent. Yeah, so later we'll be looking for a what I call a Goldilocks bowl here, which is the first one was too short, second one was too long, third one she needs it to be just right.
Oh. And a little far, but still good effort there.
Good spot.
So, even though it's not like, of course, the tightest head that we've seen in this competition, every one of those bowls could be very useful in this end.
Yeah. Okay. So we just have to see what Biscuits can do with this, and what we've been seeing from James and Scott is that they are really pushing each other. Like these heads aren't staying the same; they're making changes.
Uh, Pat Bird and Serena Matthews have added another point to their total as they are into the 12th end. They lead the rink of Andre Dufour and Zoe Chen 12-5.
So yeah, Scott's sort of right on the line there. So he just needs to adjust the weight now. See what James can do.
James Chen with a great goal to answer Vivian Chan's toucher there.
He wasn't looking too happy after he delivered it. So yeah, I think he got a result he was maybe not expecting, but it's a beauty.
Both balls there by the Jack were both touchers, both had the chalk on them. Says the legs, pulls up just short.
Yeah, I think James would actually be pretty happy with that because it just makes the running shot sort of much harder there for Scott. I think it may well be a good thing for Scott because I think that running shot there is really difficult. You've got virtually no target. They can just play a draw shot and just try and get it in on top of that orange ball.
And being this late in the match here in the 11th end, the James Chen would certainly be happy to take a single point to build on their lead here. Scott Packer's final bowl of the 11th. And it hits the traffic in front. And James Chen, you kind of expect maybe to play a bit conservatively here and not risk the single point.
Yeah, I think it's, I guess there's, I'm going to touch wood here, but like there doesn't seem to be a lot of risk here.
And no chances whatsoever
No,
from James Chen on that, as they will settle for the 1 point. And once again, they have a 3-point lead over Scott Packer and Vivian Chan after 11 complete.
you take the shot every time. You just want to keep on building up. Twelfth end completed across in the other semi-final. Another shot for Pat and Serena. They take a 13-5 lead after 12 ends.
Chan really finding her accuracy here in the late rounds.
She just keeps on sort of getting better and better. Just but Anita's right in there as well.
Italy's second bowl here in the 12th. And a nice second bowl as well.
Yeah, that's almost exactly where you would have wanted it to go. So she'll be very happy with that. Yeah, I think Anita just fell into that little trap you can get sometimes when there's a bowl on the jack. You just chase it a little and end up coming narrow.
And Vivian Chan wasting no time with her final bowl. You want to try and remember that motion that got you where you were going. And puts in a useful back bowl there.
Yep. It's another good bowl and it's a good spot.
So Vivian Chan has put Scott Packer in a really good situation here. They're down 3 points here in the 12th. And so it's good to be able to set them up for multiples, even though it's only midway through the end.
Yeah, and James will be looking to do everything he can to change that situation.
And this is coming right in on the jack, and he carries the jack. That is excellent from James Chen. Sit there.
And that can be a real heartbreaker. Yeah, you can see those couple of shots, and all of a sudden now you have to make it happen again.
The Packers shot too far.
James is not happy with this one.
Yeah, coming in narrow.
Still leaves that jack exposed for Scott to come in on.
With 2 bulls remaining for him in this end.
Yeah, I think he's too narrow.
Narrow as well.
Yeah, Scott and James got their own game going on to the side there.
And will this stay for James Chen, or does it have too much weight if it hangs? Oh my.
Yeah, he had that on a string. That was beautiful.
Scott Packer really needs to draw in here on his final bull. There's a risk they could break the game open. This is coming in, and this is close. Close for Scott. And it's unfortunately been the way it's been for him in this match.
Oh, like he's made some beautiful conversions, but he's had so many close bowls when he's playing those upweight kind of shots.
And it looks to be, looking at the head, it looked to be at least 3, I would think. We'll wait till they throw up the score. They are very quick to get the jack thrown here because of the time limit that we are rubbing up against here in the 13th to get the 13th thing going. And they've not put up the score. We believe it's 3.
Yep, I would think so. It's a lot. Determined not to confirm it for us. Okay, Anita's officially moved into just showing off sort of mode now. That was a beautiful bowl. Cross in the other semi-final, it's handshaking time there. I think they picked up a couple on that end. I think it was 14-5 was the final score there. They don't need to play the final end.
And so Pat Bird and Serena Matthews will stand by to see the winner of this one. And at the moment, it is the rink of James Chen and Anita Lee that are sitting in the catbird seat right now.
Very close. Good attempt there from Vivian.
Skips are wasting no time getting back, making the effort to try and get the 14 ends in before the bell rings. It might be a tall order. And confirming that it was indeed 3 on that last end on the scoreboard.
And for James and Anita, they're just really looking at just adding a shot here, and that will pretty much close out the game.
You know, matter of being up by 6, avoiding the big end, and even if they hang on here and pick up an extra 1, well, that'll be the end of it anyway, because this match has been rung down as time expires, and they will not they will complete this end. They will, however, not play the 14th end, and so the result of this is academic now.
Yes.
But still, a great performance from both teams in this. Scott Packer with some excellent shots and a lot of shots that just make you think of what could have been.
Yep, and I think, until halfway through the last end, this could have been a 10-9 sort of game going into this end. So.
And it was the 3 in the 11th end. And look at that. Even in the end here, Scott Packer pulls off a great shot like that just to remind us the type of bowler that he is.
Absolutely. He's been really good. And he's got like a full range of shots available to himself. Yeah.
And James Chen's final shot will just sail through. But he has the luxury of knowing that he will be heading off to our championship final. And Scott Packer with his final shot of the day. And he has certainly a lot to be proud of his performance here in this Pacific Coast Open.
Yeah, I think both beating semi-finalists have really given a great exhibition.
And the crowd exhibiting their appreciation for this excellent match. And the rink of James Chen and Anita Lee is now set to play in the championship final against Pat Bird and Serena Matthews. And we will have that for you coming up shortly. It was scheduled for 3:30. We don't know how much time they're going to give the two rinks in between matches. It's going to take a little bit for them to get set up. But in the meantime, we are going to sign off here please do tune in to our championship final that's coming up momentarily. You will need to sign off of this YouTube broadcast and then check into the next one that we've got set up for you. And we'll have that up and running in just a few minutes. But we will be back very shortly. But for now, for Shane O'Flaherty, I'm Bill Curry. Thanks so much for joining us, and we will see you in a few minutes in the championship final. Thanks so much.